Starting the day feeling like you're always running late becomes exhausting. The mind fills with tasks, the schedule feels too tight, and moments to simply breathe become increasingly rare. The philosophy of letting life flow emerges as an alternative to ease this weight and bring harmony to daily life. It is a way of recognizing that despite countless demands, there is an inner space where tranquility remains untouched. Instead of accumulating worries, one can adopt a broader perspective, where each step reveals something meaningful. The goal is to understand that life takes on a different tone when we align with its natural current. This choice, though simple in theory, creates profound changes in how we handle thoughts and emotions. The mind stops spinning in circles and instead opens the way for a gentle clarity. Many people experience a shift in attitude when they realize they don't have to force outcomes at every moment. Daily dedication remains, but there is a newfound lightness, a serenity that allows for reevaluating priorities and cultivating what truly matters. This practice of letting things happen does not eliminate challenges, but it lessens the weight they place on the heart. Each chapter brings reflections inspired by spiritual and philosophical concepts, seamlessly integrating into the daily life of those seeking greater awareness and well-being. It is not about abandoning everything, but rather about bringing mindfulness to everyday experiences, always remembering that simplicity is key. The following approach invites us to see reality with kinder eyes, strengthening the connection with our own essence and awakening the inner force that harmonizes mind, body, and emotions. Every person carries the potential to rediscover this state of peace. It all begins with recognizing one's own rhythm and making space for a more fulfilling way of living. The importance of embracing life's flow. Recognizing that every situation follows its own natural rhythm allows for a lighter relationship with daily events. When we embrace life's flow, rigidity gives way to a serene dance, where each step adjusts to the natural pace of the moment. Often the urge to control every detail creates unnecessary tension, like trying to hold back a river's current with your hands. Water will always find a way, and resisting its flow only leads to greater struggle. Choosing to let life take its course does not mean standing still or abandoning responsibilities. On the contrary, this mindset strengthens the ability to act wisely, guided by a clearer perception of each situation. Small daily decisions become easier as we learn to distinguish what truly matters from what merely drains our energy. This shift in attitude affects deep aspects of life, such as relationships, work, and self-care. Instead of fighting against past events, there is an opportunity to move forward, respecting personal limits and acting with awareness. The mind frees itself from distractions and remains focused on constructive action. A good example is imagining a tree standing firm even when strong winds blow. Its deep roots represent our essence, while its swaying branches demonstrate flexibility in the face of challenges. This balance inspires us to transform difficulties into learning experiences without burdening the heart with unnecessary concerns. Life does not have to be a struggle. Its flow is always present, ready to guide each event. When we choose to embrace this energy, everything takes on new meaning. The clock stops being an enemy, and external pressures lose their power to create anxiety. This state of harmony is not an unattainable dream, but the result of a consistent practice of trusting the greater order that governs every moment. With this mindset, it is possible to move forward with greater integrity, supported by a deep sense of belonging to the whole. Thus, life flows more naturally, allowing us to experience each moment without the weight of resistance. This continuous movement serves as a reminder that everything happens in its own time. Without rushing or worrying excessively, we begin to notice a lighter rhythm, where each challenge becomes part of an ongoing learning process. That is why letting life flow is truly worthwhile. The practice of mindful pausing. Once we understand the benefits of embracing the natural rhythm of life, an important step toward a more peaceful existence emerges: the practice of mindful pausing. This exercise encourages brief moments of stillness throughout the day to observe what is happening internally without rushing or trying to fix anything. Each moment of quiet offers a refuge, allowing the body and mind to slow down, even if only for a few seconds. This habit can be integrated into different moments, before starting the day's activities, during a work break, or at the end of the day. Instead of maintaining a restless mind, the invitation is to take a deep breath and simply feel what is present. While most people are buried in endless to-do lists, this choice creates a valuable space to recharge energy and cultivate self-awareness. The time dedicated to this practice doesn't have to be long. Just a few minutes are enough to nurture a sense of tranquility. These pauses have an immediate impact, as they open the way to clearer awareness of emotions and thoughts. When the mind calms down, it becomes easier to distinguish what truly deserves attention from what only adds unnecessary burden. With each pause, the ability to face external and internal demands with greater confidence awakens. The inner flow becomes smoother since there is no insistence on forcing the mind to stay constantly active. The pause serves as a reminder that it is possible to move through the day with more balance. It does not erase responsibilities or commitments, but transforms the way we approach them, adding calmness to decisions and lightness to the routine. Each time this commitment to oneself is honored, life begins to feel more coherent and present. Even when everything around seems to be moving at high speed, mindful pausing reinforces the idea that there is an inner sanctuary of peace available at any moment. This simple act of stopping reveals the opportunity to embrace life with greater openness, bringing us closer to the essence that sustains inner serenity. The power of acceptance and surrender. When something unexpected happens and causes discomfort, the mind instinctively reacts by trying to resist or take control. This response fuels stress because it creates the illusion that everything must be resolved immediately. Acceptance invites us to stop fighting the inevitable and make space for clearer vision. Surrender in this context does not mean giving up. It means understanding that reality is already in motion, and how we respond to it makes all the difference. Imagine a sailor who, facing strong opposing winds, adjusts the sails instead of trying to change the direction of the wind. This gesture symbolizes the strength of someone who embraces the situation without resistance, redirecting their energy toward creative solutions. Yielding to life's flow prevents unnecessary exhaustion, allowing inner wisdom to guide each choice. In practice, acceptance means recognizing that some events are beyond our control, much like a river naturally following its course. Instead of holding on to tension, we can align our actions with the current, choosing to respond with calmness. When we release the need to judge everything as good or bad, new paths appear, paths that were previously unnoticed. Surrender becomes an ally because it frees us from the burden of carrying everything alone. By relaxing inner rigidity, the mind finds serenity, and the body reaches a state of tranquility. Every moment ceases to be an obstacle, and instead becomes a silent teacher, revealing opportunities for growth and wisdom. Allowing life to take its course requires patience and courage. It is an act of trust, rooted in the belief that each experience holds a lesson. By embracing this power of acceptance, daily pressures become lighter, and life itself gains fluidity. Instead of exhausting ourselves trying to alter fixed circumstances, we shift our attention to the only force we can truly shape, the way we perceive and experience the present. Silencing inner resistance opens the door to a new perspective, where calmness becomes a solid foundation. This inner transformation naturally reflects in our actions, leading to more conscious choices in both personal and professional aspects of life. The power of detachment. This journey of acceptance and surrender gains even more solidity when we recognize the root of attachments that fuel restlessness. In simple terms, attachment is the attempt to hold on to something that cannot be controlled forever. There is a false sense that by gripping tightly to a situation, a person, or an object, we secure some form of safety. However, the effect is often the opposite. It increases anxiety, as everything in life undergoes inevitable transformations. A good analogy is holding a handful of sand. The tighter the grip, the more it slips through your fingers. Holding on generates tension and suffering, Detachment does not negate genuine connections, but removes the weight of possession. When the need for control is released, relationships flourish naturally, without the obsession for dominance. This principle applies to everything from maintaining family harmony to relating to cherished objects. A fundamental aspect of detachment is understanding that you can appreciate something without clinging to it. Life is a flowing current, and everything that appears may eventually depart. When we free ourselves from the fear of loss, we create space for a deeper appreciation of the present. This mindset strengthens the heart, as it no longer builds walls of protection or traps of suffering. Those who embrace detachment navigate sudden changes with more ease because they accept the natural flow and adapt without unnecessary distress. They also see new opportunities because their mind remains open to various possibilities. Letting go of the need to control every detail of the future allows for a broader perspective, focusing on the concrete steps that can be taken now. Practicing detachment does not mean rejecting or undervaluing what you love, but rather recognizing that true security comes from within. It is a way of breathing more lightly without burdening the heart with constant demands. Life continues its course, and each experience becomes an essential piece in personal growth. This act of letting go is not a loss but a precious gain, freedom. Nothing compares to the peace of knowing that there are no chains holding back the joy of living, because detachment frees energy for what truly matters. Trusting this process does not eliminate challenges, but it allows each step to be taken with full awareness and compassion. This state expands perception, reinforcing the sense of unity with the whole. Detachment is liberation. Observing the mind without judgment. Observing the mind without judgment means watching the flow of thoughts as if standing by a calm river, where each idea drifts along the surface without demanding an immediate reaction. When the mind runs unchecked, it is easy to cling to memories or worries that intensify anxiety and discomfort. This process creates an internal storm that blocks clarity, as energy becomes trapped in fear or the urge to solve everything at once. The key is to allow each thought to arise and fade without labeling it as good or bad. Instead of trying to block uncomfortable ideas, a compassionate perspective welcomes them, naturally reducing their impact. This practice does not eliminate thoughts but transforms the way we relate to them. The tendency to judge everything perpetuates tension, while a neutral stance paves the way for serenity. A helpful analogy is imagining the sky and the clouds. No matter how dense the clouds seem, they do not alter the ever-present sky behind them. Similarly, consciousness remains available even when conflicting emotions arise. Identifying less with each mental impulse brings significant relief, as attention shifts to inner presence rather than getting lost in endless narratives. With daily discipline, this exercise becomes a natural habit. It can be applied to simple activities, such as preparing a meal. Instead of being distracted by countless thoughts, attention rests on the act of chopping, sensing aromas, and noticing textures. The mind learns that it does not need to judge every detail. It can simply recognize what is happening. This is not about ignoring responsibilities, but rather cultivating a receptive and stable attitude. Such openness reduces mental fatigue, promotes balance, and supports wiser decision-making. Judgment-free awareness gains strength, and each moment becomes an opportunity to reconnect with one's essence. By consistently practicing this observation, every experience reinforces the bond with serenity, turning the mind into a more peaceful space. Understanding the ego as an illusion. In many moments, the ego acts like an insistent narrator, assigning labels and categorizing everything in personal terms. It creates the illusion of separation between me and others, as if it were essential to affirm one's position in order to defend an internal image. This illusion generates conflicts and insecurities because it nurtures the belief that happiness depends on external validation or endless achievements. In practice, the ego manifests in various ways. It constantly seeks recognition, competes for attention in discussions, and insists that every opinion must be heard. When it does not receive approval, it triggers emotional reactions such as irritation or resentment. This mechanism turns life into an internal battlefield, where peace is replaced by comparison and constant competition. Recognizing the ego as only a part of oneself, not the entirety, creates gaps through which reality can be seen more clearly. Clarity emerges when the mind is not preoccupied with proving anything to itself or to others. This detachment does not erase individuality, but rather reveals that there is something deeper than the superficial identity. Daily experiences show that by stepping away from unnecessary struggles, we preserve energy for living authentically and approaching situations with more empathy. A useful analogy is to visualize the ego as a mask adorned with striking designs but ultimately blocking direct contact with the world. Removing this mask does not mean losing one's personality, but instead allowing the true self to be revealed, free from defensive postures. In this state, confidence no longer depends on praise, and actions become natural without the weight of external opinions. Following this path reinforces the understanding that true inner strength does not stem from self-promotion, but from a presence that remains unaffected by external fluctuations. Relationships become clearer as compassion replaces competition, and the sense of unity overcomes the illusion of a separate self. As a result, every action gains genuine meaning, sustained by the peace that arises when the heart is free from unnecessary battles and self-imposed defenses. This way of living balances spontaneity and responsibility, leading to choices that align with true values. Each step taken reflects the liberation from false appearances, awakening a profound sense of contentment. This expanded awareness strengthens the perception of the essential connection that unites all beings, fostering deeper relationships and bringing greater clarity to everyday choices. The state of presence. Countless spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of staying centered in the present, reminding us that life truly unfolds in the now. This state of mindfulness reveals itself when the mind focuses on the present moment, free from fantasies about the past or anxieties about the future. It is like admiring a sunset without being distracted by yesterday or what is to come. In this state, every sense awakens, and the experience gains a transformative depth. Being present does not require excessive effort, but does demand dedication to recognize when the mind tends to wander. When this tendency is noticed, the practice is to gently return to what is happening before your eyes. This commitment strengthens inner connection, as attention directed to the now creates space for insights that the whirlwind of thoughts usually obscures. Small details once overlooked come to life through this practice. Each step toward presence reinforces the understanding that happiness does not depend on grand achievements, but on genuine engagement with the moment. The simplicity of a smile, the aroma of morning coffee, or the gentle breeze touching the face can bring more fulfillment than any great adventure. When we recognize the value of what is already available, gratitude for existence naturally grows. In today's fast-paced world, the state of presence becomes even more essential. It acts as a beacon amidst the rush, helping the mind focus on what truly matters. Often, the pursuit of validation and immediate results creates tension and distances us from the joy of simply living. When we align with this serene space, every task and personal interaction becomes richer, as they are experienced with depth and authenticity. Each breath reaffirms this presence, showing that awakening is not an abstract concept. Noticing the air entering and leaving the body, feeling the heartbeat, and paying attention to surrounding sounds enhance inner clarity. Practicing this consistently illuminates every experience. The state of presence becomes a trusted ally in the art of letting life flow. The invitation to silence and intuitive intelligence. Spending a few moments in inner silence can transform how we perceive the world. Amid daily chaos, allowing the mind to rest in stillness rekindles the ability to listen to the heart. This silence is not merely the absence of words. It creates an atmosphere of calm, where relentless thoughts lose strength, making way for deeper listening. This internal space allows intuitive intelligence to emerge, guiding each action with clarity. This invitation to stillness fosters balance between logic and sensitivity, as knowledge is not limited to rational analysis. Many discover subtle signs that assist in decision-making and navigating complex situations. When the mind is calm, These signs become more perceptible, like a soft inner voice offering guidance. This intelligence operates naturally, without pressure, unfolding at its own pace. Practicing a few minutes of silence daily soothes internal agitation, making each experience more profound. In this state, thoughts become organized, and creativity emerges effortlessly, as it no longer competes with unnecessary worries. It is common to notice that brilliant ideas arise spontaneously in this serene environment. The sense of connection with something greater intensifies, leading to a deeper understanding of life's circumstances. From this place of stillness, previously unseen solutions appear, strengthening confidence in facing challenges. Experiencing this phenomenon refines discernment, merging practical vision with a sense of purpose. A conscious mind recognizes that even in everyday situations, there is wisdom in pausing and embracing silence. Each action begins to reflect harmony, as it comes from a place of genuine intention. Tuning into intuitive intelligence does not require great effort, only the willingness to listen to oneself. Inner silence flourishes when we accept that answers do not need to be forced but received with serenity. This openness solidifies the certainty that life supports those who respect their own rhythm and embrace the natural flow of existence. Thus, each moment unveils inspiring possibilities, nurturing trust and serenity along the inner path. The Great Transformation, letting go of personal identification. When identification with the small self fades, a profound freedom arises. The mind stops acting as the center of everything and recognizes that every being is part of a greater reality. This shift does not erase individuality, but dissolves the barriers that limit our perception of who we truly are. Gradually, it becomes easier to honor the essence within each encounter, acknowledging the interconnectedness that weaves relationships. In this process, the heart expands. It no longer needs to defend an isolated space, but instead collaborates with the whole. The result is a sense of lightness, rooted in the clarity that there is something beyond the boundaries imposed by the ego. Transformation happens when, upon noticing habitual reactions, we choose not to feed them. Instead of acting from the impulse to defend our self-image, awareness opens space for balanced responses. A newfound ability to listen and embrace others emerges, as the mind no longer feels threatened at every moment. This inner freedom fosters genuine expression, making empathy and compassion more evident. Each gesture reflects a deep stillness that does not depend on external validation, as inner stability becomes unshakable. Life ceases to be a stage of confrontations and instead becomes a space for authentic experiences. Letting go of personal identification reveals infinite possibilities for growth. Daily routines remain, but they radiate a newfound clarity. Attention shifts to what is truly happening, without distractions from the constant pursuit of recognition. The heart grows stronger as it finds contentment in simply being. This heightened awareness amplifies the ability to serve, support, and inspire others on the same path. Instead of trying to control every detail, the mind relaxes and finds harmony in flowing with reality. Each step reaffirms that transformation is ongoing, for the source of joy and fulfillment is always accessible, independent of conditions or external appearances. Life unfolds with authenticity, bringing all aspects into alignment with a greater purpose. This realignment invites every being to live in harmony with their true nature. Throughout this journey, the potential for growth and self-discovery becomes clear. Life presents lessons in a continuous flow, leading to a state of wholeness that arises when the mind and heart align. By embracing the philosophy of letting life flow, we uncover the freedom that comes from a simple choice, saying yes to the present and respecting the rhythm of our inner nature. This shift in perspective does not eliminate challenges, but teaches us that inner strength expands when we cultivate calmness amidst life's storms. Moment by moment, each step takes on meaning, for wisdom is not in resistance but in wise acceptance, which reveals constructive pathways. By observing the mind, recognizing the ego, and valuing silence, we discover that there is a permanent center of stillness. a firm anchor in the midst of life's waves. Offering ourselves the opportunity to live with openness brings benefits that extend beyond personal well-being. Serenity radiates outward, influencing relationships, workplaces, and daily interactions, fostering empathy and understanding. Everything begins internally, with the decision to release unnecessary tensions and cultivate a perspective free of pressure. Every conscious step nurtures a sense of wholeness, strengthened by the certainty that there is always more to learn. For those who resonate with these reflections, sharing this message can be transformative. By spreading this vision of life, others are inspired to find within themselves the courage to tune into the present moment. Continuing this practice allows harmony to flourish. Today is the perfect moment to open your heart, deepen these experiences, and create a positive impact on your journey. May this message nourish your soul, awakening the beauty of living in full presence. May it illuminate each step toward well-being, wisdom, and inner peace.